All right, welcome back to another crowdfunding weekly roundup here with the Krabby Dice. So before we start, it feels like I gotta shake off the rust. It has been 3 or 4 weeks since I've been on camera here. It's just because my family's been sick on and off with these coughs, so I wasn't really able to film anything. But I'm back. Hopefully, I won't get sick again. I did miss some really big campaigns over the last couple of weeks, most notably Monster Hunter World, the Marvel United. So I wasn't able to talk about it. I might release videos about them, maybe not. Who knows? We'll see how it goes or how I feel tomorrow. But no matter, let's look at the ones that are ending this week that are the most popular. By the way, if you're new to the channel, I'm going to go through the 3 to 5 most popular games ending this week, talk about the gameplay, the value, what I like, what I don't like, and if I helped you out at all, why not consider subscribing to my channel. All right, so the first one I'm going to tackle today is Hoplomachus Victorum. All right, so what is Hoplomachus Victorum? So at its core, it is a solo-only campaign arena battle game. So you're going to be playing a lengthy campaign. I think it's 48 weeks, 4 different acts. The whole point of the game is to get the last boss. If you can defeat him, you win the campaign. If you die along the way, though, it is really punishing. You do have to scrap your character and start back from the beginning. Okay. Now, I did mention it is solo only, and that'll already tell you if you're interested in this game. There is an opportunity to buy the original Hoplomachus game. It's called Remastered with this game. I'm not going to talk about that product at all. I'm going to try to focus strictly on the Victorum, which is the new stuff that they're presenting in the campaign. All right, so now let's go on. So this is brought to us by Chip Theory Games. I mean, I'm not going to talk about them too much. They're super popular on Kickstarter. They're the Too Many Bones, Cloudspire, Burn Cycle guys. They have their legions and legions of fans, especially Mike from the Dice Tower. Absolutely loves these guys. Can't stop raving about them. Now, in my opinion, I mean, they have their whole shtick. It's Chip Theory Games. Everything's made out of poker chips and mouse play mat material, felt mats, whatever it's called. In my opinion, I really don't care what materials you use to make a game. Just make a good game. I mean, this is their shtick. I don't really care if your game has minis, poker chips, cardboard, dice. As long as the game is good, I'll be interested. And that's what I'm looking forward to, a good game. All right, so let's not talk about that anymore. Let's talk about the game. All right, so I think what we're going to do first is talk about the value. All right, so the pledge level is really simple. There's only one. $95 to get the game. All right, so it's going to be super easy. All right, now there's just a couple of notes I do have to make about this price. Now, they do say 115 MSRP, so it's a $20 savings, and this is a true $20 savings. It's not like 99% of other projects out there where it says $100 MSRP, but then you'll find it later on web stores for 80 bucks, $75, whatever. This is because Chip Theory Games never sells their stuff in the distribution channel, so you'll never find it at your local game store or other online websites. You'll only be able to buy it off them directly, and that's the price they're going to make it. All right, so you are saving $20, and that's a good thing. All right, the second thing I do have to mention is Chip Theory Games never has Kickstarter exclusives or anything exclusive about their project. So whatever they unlock throughout the campaign is going to be in the retail edition of the box when they sell it on their web store. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because it's important. It sort of gimps the long-term value of this game because, I mean, if somebody can get it brand new for 115 down the line, the most you'll ever be able to sell this game for in the future is 105, 110. All right, why would anyone pay you more when they can get a brand new than get your used copy type of thing? All right, because there's nothing exclusive in the box. I mean, if it's like CMON that has a ton of exclusives, well, then obviously you can always sell it for more because the retail edition just doesn't have that content. All right, but that's not the case here. All right, so it is a true $20 savings, and it is a good price. All right, I'm going to say it's a good price. Now, on the right here, you do see the remastered version, and it is... you're not saving that much. Like I mentioned here, it says 130 MSRP. They're going to put on their website for 130. You can get it here for 125, $5 savings. At that point, you know, don't even back it. Just wait for it to come to retail when the reviews come out or whatever. All right, but I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Let's talk about what's in the $95 box. And like I mentioned, the value is really good. All right, so instead of looking at the the list of content here, let's go look at a picture. So what are you going to get for 95 bucks? It's pretty good. You're going to get a really big play mat, the one in the background. Chip Theory Games, their mats are really high quality. They're all stitched edge. The ink or whatever they use on it is really good. It's really crisp. I like the colors they use, especially the huge map. It's going to have the whole campaign map below, and it looks really good and really functional. What else are you going to get in the box? You're going to get, I believe, 6 of these to 6 of these arena mats. So each arena that you go to on the map at the bottom is going to have their own map, and this sort of changes up the gameplay, so you get a mat for each. You're going to get about 100 high quality chips and about 70 of the lower crappy health ones, so still a healthy amount of poker chips. You're going to get about 50 to 100 cards, and my favorite aspect that they've started unlocking are the sorry about that, are the inserts to hold the poker chips. So there's you got one that's like a grandstand here to hold all the gladiators and the 3 events that are coming up that you can choose. You got 2 more, one for the health chips, one for all the other type of chips, the arena ones and the banes and stuff like that that we're going to talk about later. So it's great for organizational, and it just looks good on the table. All right, so all this for 95 bucks plus the unlock stretch goals. In my opinion, a green light back is really good. All right, I'm not gonna talk about the hero pledge. It is what it is. Now, what else can you buy with this campaign? So first, premium health chips. So like I mentioned before, instead of getting the 60 to 70 crappy health chips, you can pay $25 to get these ones. Now, I did play with the Too Many Bones health chips, and they're quite substantial compared to the crappy ones. So you know what? If you do want to pimp out your game, this is something I would definitely recommend. Toss 25 bucks and get these health chips. Premium chip bag. Don't get this. Waste of money. Alloy metal dice. Don't get this. Waste of money. This is brand new. I didn't remember seeing this before, but I guess they listened to some people complaining. They sort of are offering here a hero tracker mat. So with the regular game, all this is on a piece of paper. And I actually don't mind it. It's pretty cool. It's like an RPG. You know, you got to mark down your health, your squads, the dice that you're rolling. The problem with this mat is that every time you put the game away, you're going to have to transfer your data from this mat onto a piece of paper, unless you leave the game out for the whole campaign. And if the campaign is going to last 8 to 12 hours, I don't see that happening. So it is what it is. If you do have a way of keeping your game out for long periods of time, you can pick this up 15 bucks. It's not bad. It's a decent mat, and you'll get some pegs to put in it. But if you do have to store the game away and put it in and out constantly, I think this is going to be a waste of time. It's not that functional. All right, let's keep going. And the last thing you can get here is a dice tray. You know me, never get dice trays on Kickstarter. They're just way too expensive. And that's about it. Those are what you can get. So now let's just go through some of the stretch goals that they've unlocked, some of the interesting ones. You know, they have different arenas and stuff that you can go and fight. The best upgrade that they had, besides the inserts with the poker chips, is first the party tracker mini chip. So, you know, before they used to have a glass bead to track where your guy is on the map. Now they replace it with a mini chip. Keep in mind, I'm going to talk about mini chips later on in when I talk about gameplay. All right, they unlocked some other Banes and characters. They did unlock the double thick hero upgrades. So all the heroes and the scions are going to be twice as thick, so they look extra important on the battlefield, I guess. And just more cards and more stuff. And I guess they got to the let's see, where they get. Those are the scion ones. Attack dice upgrades, so on and so on. And it looks like they unlocked the metal coin. So now it's going to be a metal coin that tracks your movement on the map, and they're still going to probably unlock some stuff. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about the value. I've already talked about it too much. Let's talk about the gameplay. All right, so for gameplay, what I'm going to do is just list off some of the stuff I liked and didn't like in a sort of bullet point form. If not, I'm just going to talk about this way too much. All right, so the first thing I really liked is the whole campaign system and the structure. So you're going to be going through the acts here, 4 different acts. So it's great because it gives you sort of a breaking point if you do want to break this off into 4 different chunks. The whole point is to get to the end and beat the last boss. It's great. You get to, I guess we can look down here at the map. You get to move your party around. You get to decide what venues you want to go to. You even see the venues that are coming up, so you can be more strategic and pick the ones you want, which is cool. You can even be strategic if you want to be a spectator instead of actually doing the event to try to heal up, but then you're going to get some Banes because the Scion's going to get some influence and it's going to make your game harder as you go. So that's all good. Now, what I didn't like about the whole campaign system is that it doesn't feel epic enough. And the reason I say that is because there's no story. I mean, you do make a lot of management choices as you go, but it's not like Gloomhaven, Oathsworn, a ton of games out there, even games with barely any story like Primal, Monster Hunter World, has some story. This game just has no story, right? You're just going to be jumping from event to event, battle to battle, till you hit the end. So you can sort of think of this like a 48 battle game, right? You're not going to battle all 48 weeks, but you sort of get the idea. All right. Next, I do like the RPG nature of the game. You're going to be doing your regular upgrades that you normally do, your health, your squad size, your attack pool of dice, you know, how many hits you're going to get based on the color type of thing. You are going to get special abilities based on your prowess and special things that you do in the arena to give you special powers, and that's pretty cool. I do really like that also. The more you rest throughout the game, well, then the bad guy is going to get stronger and stronger. You're going to unlock these banes that go into your bag that'll make the game harder. So that's sort of like the scaling mechanism, and that's all good. All right, next, I do really like the amount of variety that the game's going to offer you when it comes down to the combat. It's not going to be the same combats you're going to be doing over and over again. Not only are the event cards going to change things up quite a bit, what you're facing, what tactics you're bringing, what special rules there's going to be. There's a 3 different fighting style, King of the Hill, Capture the Flag, Free for All. But most importantly, the venues are going to change things up quite a bit. So for example, if you're doing King of the Hill, on this map here, these 4 spaces are the King of the Hill spaces. On another map, it's a chariot going around the board that you have to be on top to score points as King of the Hill. Another map it would be everyone's going for a harpoon, and whoever's holding the harpoon is the King of the Hill. So lots of variety there, and that's really good. All right, that leads me to my biggest negative about this game, and it's the whole combat system. You guys can totally disagree with me, but in my opinion, the combat system is really, really too simplistic. I think I would get bored of this quite fast. It's just because there's not a lot going on. All right. It's not a game where there's any special abilities, anything special going on once your guys hit the field. Yes, there's strategic choices in the game. It's more like a puzzle game. And your most strategic choice you're going to make is which guys are going to enter the arena and at what point. After that, once they're in the arena, most of the time they're going to do what they're going to do, and there's just not much you can do. It's just a lot of dice chucking. You're chucking a lot of dice in this game, and you can win or lose based on dice chucking alone. All right, and that's just because when you guys are in the arena, besides a couple of tactics that you can throw in here and there, there's not much going on. I mean, it's not a game that has like coins that you can spend to activate special abilities, like a magic mana system that you can spend to do something. You know, a card-based system where you can activate special powers. You know, just almost every other skirmish game out there has some special system baked in so you can switch things up while you're fighting. All right. Another reason I think it is really simplistic is because it has that whole move all your guys first and then activate them all and see what happens. In my opinion, that does gimp a lot of the strategy of the game. I much prefer other games that has a sort of flow where you activate one character, do all his actions, see what happens, move another one. You know, in case you didn't kill that guy, then you can move another guy to a better spot and see what happens type of system. I even much prefer when you're facing another guy, you activate one guy every turn or one at a time type of thing. I really don't like the move everything and then see what happens. Sometimes you can send one guy over to expect them to kill. Guess what? You whiff on 3 dice. Well, now you're in a bad spot and you can't really take that into account. But it is what it is. You guys are probably going to disagree with me, but I just think it is really way too simplistic. All right, and lastly, just to round out my thoughts here, my last negative that I really want to mention about the game is this goes against the motto of the company, but not everything needed to be a chip in this game. I do get it. That's their thing. But things like weapons that are in the arena, the tactics that you're playing, these didn't have to be chips. They would have been better off being cards because these chips all get placed within the stack of the health chips and it doesn't flow really well because now you got health and weapons and tactics all stacked in together. One, if you have a lot of these things going on, you are going to lose track. I know it's a solo game, so you can sort of parse out where everything is. But in my opinion, for example, you could have had mini chips, because we know they can make them, as weapons, and that could have sat on top of the characters so you can move them around and actually can tell. Tactics could have just been a card or a mini chip as well that you can put on the characters. And that's just a minor complaint, but not everything had to be a chip. All right, so those are my thoughts overall on Hoplomachus Victorum. Let me know what you think. Let's go on to the next one. All right, up next we have Agents of Smersh, the Epic Edition. By the way, this one just funded minutes ago, right before I was filming. So if you did miss this campaign, well, it'll be open in late pledge in like a couple of weeks. All right, so where do we even start? So first thing I want to mention before we even talk about this game, the first red flag I had was when I saw Everything Epic was the publisher of this one. If you don't know, you can go look at their previous 20 campaigns. It's almost like a who's who of garbage games, in my opinion. I know some people like their stuff. I'm not a fan of their games. You can go through. Notable exception though is Grindhouse. That's a pretty fun game, but I played Coma Ward. Awful game. Secrets of the Lost Tomb, Secrets of the Lost Station, just awful games in my opinion. But those are my opinion. You can completely disagree with me, but that's fine. All right. Another reason I didn't really want to cover this game is you're either gonna be a gigantic fan of this game system or you're not. There's no real middle ground. I mean, it's very similar to Tales of Arabian Nights, and if you've played that, you sort of already know if you're gonna like this game or not. It's that type of game. It's almost like saying Munchkin. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Who says, oh, Munchkin's okay? There's almost nobody in that bucket. So because of that, I'm almost not going to talk about gameplay for this one. Basically what it is, just as a summary, it is a chaotic choose your own adventure style game where you're going to be doing a lot of skill checks, a lot of dice rolling. So you're going to be going from, you're going to be moving around the map. So I'll just show you here. You're going to be moving around the map. Where you land, you're going to reveal a card. It'll say this happens. Choose one of these 6 different options, plus roll a die. Because of those results, you're going to go to the storybook. It'll say, okay, now do this skill check. You're going to look at your skills. You're going to roll the dice. You're either going to pass and get a benefit, or you're going to fail and the game's going to end sooner. Whatever. All right, now this is a bit more strategic than Tales of the Arabian Nights, just because you do have some dice mitigation type of thing, but it's just really a chaotic story-based system. Some of the things I really don't like about these type of games, the story beats don't make any sense. I mean, you can go from one mission where you're trying to assassinate somebody, and then the next mission you're in like 3 continents away where you're in a vault trying to steal a diamond, and then in the next one you're in another continent where you're trying to infiltrate a party and bug a phone. Just a randomness after randomness after randomness, and it's just a lot of dice chucking as well. So if that appeals to you, you're really gonna like this game. If it doesn't, run away from the hills like I do. Run to the hills, or whatever the expression is. All right, now the one thing I did really like is eventually when you do face the last boss, then you get a real story. All right, you're going to go story beat to story beat that do make sense, doing your skill checks based on those story beats, and different things are going to happen based on what happened in that storyline. That being said, there's a bit of a negative once you do face that boss in that mode, because every boss does have like 3 modes. Well, then you've pretty much seen all the story and you're just doing skill checks. So it might get a bit boring, but it is what it is. At least it follows the story. All right, this is all I'm going to say about gameplay, and that's it. All right, next up, let's talk about value, because unfortunately, that's another horrible aspect of this game. Now, this is the Epic Edition, and it's $100, and let's go see what's in the box. All right, it is $100. Keep it in mind. All right, so let's scroll down and see what's in the box. So what are you going to get? You're going to get 1 board. You get the spy sheets. You're going to get these folded overlay boards. These are amazing, by the way. These are the same boards that you get in Claustrophobia 1649. I'll probably show you that game in one of my future videos. And these boards are fantastic. You're going to get standees. I mean, this is a $100 game and they're giving you standees. You're going to get 7 dice. You're going to get a bunch of cubes. You're going to get a bunch of tokens and about 200 cards. All right, you're going to get a 400-page book. And that's it. So that's $100. I mean, you guys can write in the comments below if you think that's worth $100. I don't even think that's even close to $100. I think they're just trying to rip you off at this point. But it is what it is. If you're a fan of this game, you might want to spend $100. But I think you'll easily be able to find this later on for much less than $100. All right, there are only 2 different pledge levels. The other pledge level is $160, so you're paying $60 for a playmat instead of the board, 7 metal dice, and these art prints of the 8 different agents in the game. Again, is this worth $60? In my opinion, not even close. Really expensive. And that's all I'm going to say about this campaign. All right, I've talked already way too much about it. Let's just go on to the next one. All right, up next we have Dice Theme Park. As you can see on the top here is the sequel to Dice Hospital. So let's go through this campaign. I'm going to make this one quite fast just because it is very similar to a previous game. So you can just watch previews or reviews on that previous game and it can sort of give you an indication if you're going to be a fan of this one. All right, but that being said, there's a blurb over here with the major differences between Hospital and Theme Park. First of all, they're saying that Theme Park is going to be a bit more complex. I believe them because of the mechanism, the dice cascading, a bit more thought needs to be thrown in there. The interaction, there's more interaction on the bidding system with the cards as well and the drafting. We're going to talk about that later. And the meeples and miniatures are going to be different, obviously. All right, now, if you did play Dice Hospital or not, in my opinion, it is a really, really good game, really fun. I just got rid of it in my collection just because it had one major negative, which was the scoring mechanism of that game. I really hated it. It was really anti-thematic, but they completely got rid of that in Theme Park. So this is the game that I'm going to really enjoy playing in the future, I think, or look forward to playing in the future. All right, for what it's worth. All right, so let's go down. Let's talk about the gameplay first because let's talk about the differences and how they work. So first you have dice cascading. So in Dice Hospital, you would assign the die and it would just pip down and that's all that would happen. Now, whenever you assign a die to a attraction, you're going to pip it down and then you have to move the die to an adjacent attraction, all right, which would then might also pip down and activate it again and so on and so on. You can do a bunch of different cascades and cascade your whole park if you wanted to, and each attraction could get activated 1, 2, 3 multiple times. You can even add an ability to an attraction that you can activate it again, and you're going to do a bunch of different combos, and that's why it's a bit more complex than Dice Hospital. So this is a really good mechanism. It is really thinky though. All right, up next, another new thing here is there's sort of a hand drafting thing. That's the interaction part of the game. You're going to be having a hand of cards. You're going to pick 2. You're going to pass your hand to the person on your left, but you're only going to use 2 cards for that round. It's going to give you a bunch of different information. First, it's going to tell you your player order. Second, how much money you're going to be starting with. Third, your special ability for that round. So you got to play dynamically because you're going to be getting 2 new cards every single round, and you're gonna have to play with the benefits of those cards. So that's going to be pretty good. And then just like Theme Hospital or Dice Hospital, you're going to be upgrading your hospital with here it's going to be attractions. You're going to be adding abilities to those attractions as well to activate them, give you extra money, give you extra points. You have these mascots you're going to be getting to give you special abilities. So these are the mascots. And it's pretty cool. Each player is going to have their own set of mascots. That's pretty cool. But these mascots all do special abilities that you can move guys around your park, change their colors, you know, all good stuff. And obviously at the end of the game, whoever has the most points is going to win. All right, so there's the gameplay. Looks really fun. All right, next let's just talk about the value here. This is where the game lost me a little bit because it is really expensive for what it is. So there's only 2 different pledge levels. Base game $56, deluxe edition $83. So like usual, never get regular base editions on Kickstarter. Get the deluxe edition. But let's talk about both of them. So $56, what are you going to get? You get the scoreboard, 40 attraction tiles, 63 generic dice. You know, it's a lot of dice, but we've seen games with generic dice come out for less than $50. For example, Steampunk Rally Fusion, so on and so on. The 24 mascot minis, you get about 70 cards only in total. You're going to get 2 punch boards worth of tokens and a lot of cubes. All right, just generic cubes. And all this for $56. I'm not blown away for $56. Just to give you a comparison, Dice Hospital was less than $50 in retail and has the same amount of components. So this one will probably be under $55 when it comes to retail, almost guaranteed. So you are going to be losing out on the shipping. but you are going to be gaining a few Kickstarter exclusive stuffs here and there, but nothing to write home about. All right, let's switch over to the deluxe edition. So for an extra $27, $28, what are you going to get? Well, the big selling point are these massive monorail miniatures. So when the guests come to your park, instead of storing them on cards, when you roll the dice, you're going to be putting them in the monorail. So when they come to your park and so on and so on. So it's a cool thematic touch. That's the big selling point. You're also going to get some new attraction tiles, some skill cards, administrator, staff, extra cards to vary up your game, and the solo stuff. And this is a painted version of that. So for 20 something dollars, it's not a horrible value. It's a lackluster. It's not fantastic, but it's not horrible. You do get these massive chunky miniatures. Now, I have played Dice Hospital with the ambulances. It's a nice to have. It's a bit superfluous. You don't really need it. So if you don't really want to spend the money, you don't need them. But it's there if you want to pimp out your game a little bit. So that's my thoughts on the gameplay, the value, and all that stuff on Dice Theme Park.